Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Child's Play, the 2019 remake. So I've been wanting to watch this movie for the longest time, ever since I became a Chucky fan. And years ago, it was on this one streaming app and I was gonna watch it, but then it left later on that month. And so for the longest time, I've been wanting to watch it, and it's on Amazon Prime. And so, I've just been so curious what happened with this movie that caused them to scrap any future plans, for the most part, and then, go back to the original creator of Chucky and create the television show. So now, I have seen every Chucky property there is, except for the last episode of the last season of the television series. And I know this movie divided fans because they took a completely different take on the Chucky legend and everything and made it more into like a modern day thing. And for the most part, the original creator of Chucky, Dan Muschietti, he was not involved in this whatsoever. Nobody from the original Chucky properties were involved in this. And it had mixed reception. And, I don't even know if did it make his budget back? Yeah, it made his budget back and everything. For the most part, but not in huge, overwhelming numbers. And, and I know, like I said before, some fans like it, some fans don't. Honestly, in my opinion, I think it's a great slasher movie, but it's not a great Chucky movie. If they just would have renamed the movie, renamed the character, changed up his appearance so he doesn't look like Chucky, I don't think not one person would have complained. Honestly. Because when you look at this movie and all the bits and parts of this movie, it had a lot going for it. And it had a lot of good moments, But the problem was, it just wasn't a Chucky movie. When I say they stripped everything that made Chucky Chucky and reworked it, I'm not joking. The thing about Chucky is that he was an actual man, a psychopath, a serial killer who knew voodoo and put his soul in a doll because his body got shot up when he was being chased by the cops. And the thing about it is Chucky, the Buddy doll, is supposed to be this cutesy wootsy little doll that you don't assume is a serial killer. That's the fun of the whole thing. Andy is supposed to be a little adorable, cute little boy who is as sweet and innocent as there is, and nobody will believe him when he says his doll is alive and killing people, because that's something a child would make up. That's the brilliance of the original movie and stuff. And when it comes to this movie, they decided, okay, we're going to take out the voodoo, take out the serial killer. And Chucky is actually innocent when you stop and you think about it when it comes to this movie, because he was reprogrammed to be evil. Because in this version, Chucky is one of those automated dolls that talks, connects to the internet, and has a bit of a little bit of an AI thing to it. And the person who was making the doll in the factory plant got pissed off at his worker and decided, for whatever reason, hey, let me just make this doll evil. So he took out all the safety protocols and the nice protocols and just made it pure evil. Then when we get the new version of Andy, who's now a teenager and a smart mouth, foul mouth teenager at that, it is Andy who accidentally teaches this doll how to be evil, giving him all of Chucky's traits from the original series and stuff. Because okay, him making a sandwich. Who the heck makes a sandwich like that where you're holding it like a slasher killer, just stabbing that stuff, and then you cut it in a very aggressive manner, and then you just stab the knife down on the little wood plate thing, the wood board, I mean. Like, who does that? So Chucky, being the AI system, supposed to learn from the person he's imprinted on, is mimicking that. He's mimicking all the foul mouth cuss words that Andy is saying. He's mimicking the action of Andy's friends, who seem to be kind of like rough around the edges. They're all watching slasher movies together. And the doll is picking up on that. So he gets programmed even more to be evil and stuff. And so the thing is, the doll is supposed to be your best friend for life. So instead of him just wanting to kill and, and all this other stuff, like the whole, he has to transfer his body, his soul into the person who first realized that he's, okay, here's the thing. In the original, he can't stay a doll forever because he's going to start to be more organic and he could die. So he has to transfer his soul into a living being, but he can only do it to the first person that realized that he's the actual real person. And so that's why he's going to transfer his soul to Andy, and that's why he's always pursuing him in the original 3 movies. Here, it's just like if you're imprinted on somebody, that's your best friend for life, so he feel like he has to protect them. So every time somebody does something wrong to Andy, he kills that person. And so, and that's why Chucky kills in this movie, but then he starts to get jealous when Andy makes friends and other people say, you're my best friend. So then he starts killing them, and now he wants revenge on Andy. And I don't know why they even called him Chucky. It was just some random thing that the doll came up with himself, just to tie into the original movies. Now, like I said before, this is actually a good movie. It's just not a good Chucky movie. And they really should have renamed it something else and changed it. And in fact, they did in 2023 when they came up with Megan, the movie so many people love. I don't care what nobody says. Megan ripped off the 2019 Child's Play movie. Basically, I bet they was all like, man, this is a good movie, but just not a good Chucky movie. Hey, why don't we rip this off? But hey, we can't make it a male because people are gonna know we ripped this movie off completely. So let's make it female and call her Megan. Because this is pretty much the exact same thing. An AI doll that learns from his user and protects his user, then gets jealous of his user. And the child is rough around the edges and foul mouth. This is exactly the same movie, just with a different cast and a different name. So if you love the Megan movie, then you should technically love the Child's Play 2019 as well. There is no argument with that. And I've heard people say Megan was done right and Child's Play 2019 wasn't. And no, they're the exact same movie. Throw your dumb logic out the window because it doesn't make no sense. They are identical and everything. Now, the things I liked about the movie, I like the fact that it's an AI robot that learns from its user and it gets tricked into going on a killing spree and everything because the doll doesn't know no better. It's literally learned from Andy and watching slasher movies and stuff. So it's it's not Chucky's fault whatsoever. And I like the fact that the lead star Andy is deaf impaired, but they really didn't play on that in the movie. And I'm not sure if the actor is like that, but I have seen an increase in deaf characters, which is great in cinema and stuff. But they didn't play on the fact that he's deaf. He even gets his hearing aid knocked out and he can still hear. So they should have added a scene to where he can't hear nothing and he's completely helpless and stuff. I like the fact that his mother is very caring and, Like, even though she has a boyfriend who doesn't like him, she still tells him, hey, look, this is my son. I will raise my son how I want. If you have a problem with him, you tell me so I can talk to my son, but you don't discipline him and everything. I like that. And I like how, like, she's very protective of him and everything. And I like the fact that Andy, this version, is giving friends because, the thing about him is that he's, all alone and he has that doll for companionship, but then he has friends, and that's what kind of makes, the doll extra turn evil. I also like how the doll can sync up to electronic devices. That is great. He even linked up to like the hearing aid, which I don't know how. Like, does the hearing aid have Wi-Fi in it? He shouldn't be able to hook up to it if it doesn't have that. And why would a hearing aid have Wi-Fi to it? Anyway, but I like how he can like talk to him in his ear and like taunt him and everything. I like how like he can sync up to the TVs and scare people. I like how he can sync up to this is the weird thing. The Buddy dolls have like a Buddy teddy bear. And he synced up to those, but they didn't do much. Why didn't he sync up to all the rest of the Chucky dolls and have an army just try to take out people? I don't understand that. But then at the end, it is shown that he did hook himself up to one of the other Chucky dolls, which would have been a sequel, but of course they didn't do that. And he also hooked up to like the airplanes with the little blades and stuff like that. But why are they made out of real metal blades? Was that something back in the old days? Probably, but you would think they would be made out of plastic now. But then again, drones are made from real blades and everything, so maybe, you know what I'm saying? Now, all the stuff I did not like about the movie. Okay, Aubrey Plaza does not look old enough to have a teenage son. She is too young looking to have a teenage son, and that didn't make no sense. It seemed like more she was his older sister who just took care of him. So that was not believable whatsoever. Also, now that I'm starting to see her act in other projects, I am now starting to see what other people are saying about her acting. While her acting was not bad, per se, it was odd in some places. Part of it was her character from Parks and Rec, which everybody loves. I love that character too. That's where, a lot of people love her acting. But then it's strange because every once in a while, her facial expressions would change to where she's looking like a supermodel and trying to be as sexy as possible. That is very odd, and it just started coming out of nowhere. And I do wonder if she's technically trained or not, because she says she's tired of people complaining about her acting. But when you watch this movie and all of a sudden she's acting normal, but then when she's just, whenever the camera's up close and personal to her, she's like trying to look like the sexiest supermodel possible. And it's odd. I don't like how Andy is a teenager. He's supposed to be a kid, and you're not supposed to believe a kid. You're more likely to believe a teenager, but, that's just, whatever. Also, I don't like how foul-mouthed he is and mean. The thing about Andy is he's supposed to be innocent, but he is just so foul-mouthed and so pissy and everything. And it's like, why? And we get why he's sad and lonely. It's because, his dad is dead, which we don't get much on that. They just kind of gloss over that. But then when he makes friends and everything, he makes friends with people who are rough around the edges. I wish they would have explained why the person who was working in the factory, why he decided to program Chucky to be evil. Because his boss got pissed at him for daydreaming. And so because of that, he's all like, all right, I'm just going to turn this doll evil. Then after he does that, he kills himself. That don't make no sense. Like, why did this happen? They should have explained that more. Also, I do not like... Okay, here's the thing. This is very much made in modern, Hollywood now. I love that the movie is diverse. I love that. But what I don't like is why is every stinking person of color rude or nasty in this movie. Like technically everybody has some rudeness to him. Like Andy's a little rude, but he's not like a brute. But every person of color, except for Aubrey Plaza herself, which in case you didn't know, she is a woman of color. I think she's like Latino or something like that. And the black cop and his mom. They are the only nice people of color in this movie. I'll tell you the truth, if Aubrey is Hispanic, then technically her son should be Hispanic too. And his name is Gabriel. And that's normally more of a Hispanic sounding name. So yeah, even he's rough around the edges, like I said before. Why is every person of color rude or nasty in this movie? I don't get it. Going all the way back to the beginning of this movie, with the Taiwanese workers, his boss literally comes in and slaps him in the face and threatens him and everything. Threatened to put him back on the street if he didn't stop daydreaming. Then the worker, of course, made it all evil. Then you had the little black kid who overreacted when Andy tried to get rid of the Chucky doll and stuff, and then those two literally got into a fist fight and everything, like a fist fight. And it's just kind of like, it's just like, and then also there's the big guy, Pug, and everything. I think he might be a person of color. I'm not sure. But anyway, he sucked as well. And it's just kind of like, why was every person of color just antagonistic? Like, this movie is trying to be woke Hollywood and diversify. I can't even talk right now. I'm getting tongue tied. Make the movie more diverse and stuff. But then it makes the people of color like the mean people. Then also in modern day Hollywood, the guys happen to be weak and the women happen to be strong. I don't mind there's a strong woman in the thing. Hey, I love Xena growing up. And it's like, but it's like the mom and the best friend girl, which shout out to her. This actress loves to star in horror type stuff. This is like her third, fourth, fifth horror type role and everything. The thing I have a problem with is like, we can see that Andy and the black kid are tough. They duked it out in that fist fight. So they should be able to protect themselves. And the big boy Pug is huge, so he should be able to protect himself. And the cop is a cop with a gun, so you think he'll be able to protect himself. But they can't. They're all weak. When the plane came towards the cop the first time, the mom pushed him out the way. Then when the cop tried to save a kid from a plane, he ended up getting cut up to where you think he's dead and he's passed out for the rest of the movie until the end. And he was able to shoot Chucky or something like that at the very, very end, because oh, he's alive? But the thing went straight through his chest and everything. But still, the fact is he had to be saved, and when he tried to save somebody else, he got wounded for the majority of the third act. Then you have the boys and everything and the girl. Like I said before, the boys are tough in this movie. But when it comes to time for them to kill Chucky, only the girl has a weapon. She has a hedge saw, and she has this really cool dagger knife thing. Well, the boys have absolutely nothing, and the boys are acting scared, and she's the only one acting tough and actually going after the killer dolls and everything with the weapons. And then she has to give the weapons to the boys, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go with her. And it's like, well, we know the boys are tough. So why aren't they acting tough when it comes to the killer dolls? And now all of a sudden the girl who never acted tough in this movie is now acting like the tough one and everything. That is not female empowerment. Like, it's not. It would have been more strong woman female empowerment if the boys were equally strong as her and brave as her. But they're not. It's literally written to where the guys are weak and the two females have to be there to save them. That is not how you write female empowerment, when you literally write somebody to be weak and you literally write the other person to be stronger and braver. Hollywood needs to understand that, because they got it decades ago in like the 90s and before that. But it seems like now they forgot what makes like a strong woman and everything. And yeah, Andy did have his brave moment when he tried to save his mom, but he couldn't even off Chucky without having help. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't like those elements in the movie. But all in all, I do feel like this is a good movie and stuff like that. It's just not a good Child's Play Chucky movie. I also didn't like how Andy had to defeat Chucky by singing him that song to distract him, because technically, if Chucky is programmed to be evil, that song should not have affected him. And it was just kind of odd and weird, you know, but that's the song Chucky used to sing to him. Now, having Mark Hamill voice Chucky, you think that would have been genius because of his dark, gritty voice and his Joker voice, but instead they tried to have him emulate the original Chucky actor voice. And because Mark can actually do like this voice he does, he's actually done that before to voice like the Joker before the Joker became evil and stuff. So he can do this voice, but we're expecting his Joker voice, his darker, grittier Joker voice, and his King Ozai voice from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And all his other evil voices and stuff. That would have been so much better. Oh, also, I did not like the way Chucky's face looked. I'm sorry, this Chucky face is ugly. Like, they're trying to make this scary, deranged looking Chucky, but it's just not working because it's just so off-putting. Now, wasn't that spooky? Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.